Hey guys, it's the Golden Goose. Coming back to another video. And I think I want to talk about the twin flame. A lot of people feel like they know what a twin flame is. Or I always hear people saying, yeah, I ran into my twin flame and you know, it was crazy and this and that and this and blah, 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 and all this other shit. Well, a twin flame is more significant than that. Than just meeting a person that just, you know, I'm not going to say ruined your life. In some people's cases, you know, they probably ruined your life, you know, that's cool, but a twin flame is basically that I had to, you know, learn this. It's basically your twin in reality. Like, they may not look like you, but they definitely have a lot of your. They basically remind you of you with the things that they do. Pretty much. Now when it comes to tarot, you know, people would say, oh, tarot's the devil and all this other shit. And, you know, I've even spoke to some people very briefly. When I first started doing the readings, I tried to reach out to people. And then God told me not to do that. No. Don't do that. You don't need to do that. So I stopped. But, you know, when I was having a blast doing that, you know, I was getting criticism from if anything, from the Christians, not from the tarot community, from the people who call themselves Christians, pretty much. And yeah, so, you know, the reason why I like the tarot community is, honestly, I like the people. I like their creative mind. I like how funny they are. There's a lot of people in the tarot community that I like, that I favor. Like, you know, they're honest for the most part, you know, and I can feel that from them. So I enjoy their content just like any other subscriber that they have. But I try not to make myself too known, or to, you know, I don't really want people to know me as far as, like, you know, joining their stuff. But pretty much the tarot community is a small stone that I turned over, because as far as I know, I control every single form of divination. Everything. If my interest peaks into whatever divination that is, it becomes mine. And that's why the tarot community is mine. And that's why when you read your messages, you get frustrated. Why does this keep coming out? Why does this keep coming out? Why does the apology keeps coming out? Well, because I haven't spoken to my twin flame in years after that situation. You got to understand, nothing is ever going to change but me. You're just always going to hear about this person trying to come back, trying to make amends, and do this and that and whatever. I'm not going to go for that shit. It's going to remain that way. All right? Now, when I was dealing with my twin flame, that woman was the catalyst of me unlocking my spiritual powers. It was because of her. It was because She gave me the last little bit of pain and trauma that I needed to push myself, pretty much. And God did that on purpose. He told me he did it. He said I had to do it. You know, and at first I kind of was mad because I was like, you know, how can you do this to me? This woman captured my whole entire heart. But does it really matter if she did that? It didn't matter because she didn't love me, pretty much, you know. I mean, now she does. Now she figured out that I'm this spiritual powerhouse. I got God on my side. Now it's different. I'm a person of status in her eyes. Just because of that, not because of finances and things that she can see, but only it's because of what she hears about me, probably through the tarot community and other things. But at this point, you know, I don't care about that because God told me I can choose whoever I want. Once that situation ended, he wanted that for me a little bit, but once he seen how bad it got, he's like, yeah, no. Now you're gonna have whatever option you want. It could be a soulmate, doesn't have to be the twin flame. Yeah, I wanted that for you, but you know what? Fuck that. I'm God. I can change shit up pretty much. Yeah. Now, you know, a lot of people, they get confused. They're like, oh, religion, science, extraterrestrials, you know, aliens, ancient astronauts, the ancient gods, the ancestors, right? So for somebody like me, who's favored by God, would it be weird that I met extraterrestrials? What do you think about that? Well, I did. Only because God sent them. He sent them towards me. He chose a specific extraterrestrial to come in this reality, not in my dreams, not in my visions, none of that. No. They pulled up. Okay? They pulled up. And they literally pretty much landed in front of me. Now, the only reason God did that is because he wanted them to work on me for him. You know, extraterrestrials, they're, you know, first of all, they're spiritual. That's number one. Second of all, they're far more advanced than we are. It's that simple. So for God to acquire them to come and assist me for him, it's not a big surprise to me. It doesn't change my faith. It doesn't do anything. God is above all. Don't let the details get you confused. All right? So, you know, that's why when it comes to the divination and tarot readings and all this stuff like that, and you always hear those tarot readers say, damn, the same messages always comes out. Well, dummy, yeah. Because you're reading the twins. You're reading the twins. You're reading an angel and you're reading a demon. That's what you're reading. Or should I say, you're reading two fallen angels and one gained his power back. One gained his favor back from God. The other one did not. That's pretty much what you're reading. That's what it is. I mean, obviously, I didn't know that at first. But that's pretty much what it was. I remember the last argument I had with this girl. It was a big scene in front of the house. A lot of screaming. Well, she was screaming. And, you know, at that moment, I was emotionally distraught. You know, I was going through a lot. But, you know, even with all that going on, I remember that I was in front of her and she was screaming, angry. And when she screamed, I heard the demon screaming within. I heard it. So, you know, that basically taught me a lot when I heard that. And at that time, I still, I don't think at that time I gained my powers yet. At that time, I gained it shortly after, but not right there. At that time, I didn't have anything. I mean, I probably had stuff, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't something physical, you know. Like when I heard the demon, I just heard another voice in her voice. I heard her voice, and then I heard this other voice. Two screaming voices. Her screaming and the demon screaming. So that's how that went. But yeah, for the most part, that's why when you guys do your messages, you hear about me and my finances, because that's all I'm worried about. You hear about this girl trying to come back to me. Even after that whole big fight, she tried to come back 4 separate times after that. And I slammed the door 4 times. All right? And then now, you know, she probably still feels the same way, trying to come back, blah, 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 blah. But nobody cares. I don't. I call judgment on her. I call judgment on a lot of people. Anybody who stands in my way, I call judgment. I'm not your typical Christian at all. God says I have the spirit of a hero, which means that I have a warrior spirit, which means I don't take no bullshit, especially from women. Doesn't matter how much time passed. Doesn't matter. None of that matters. You messed up, you messed up. That's it. Now, as far as divination is concerned, that's something that I haven't even branched into. Like I said in one of my other videos, I stumbled across tarot just looking up other things. It wasn't even something that, it's just that that's where I started to receive my messages. So, you know, I made it a habit to listen to those videos along with the people with their different personalities. It's entertaining. A lot of people have fun doing the readings. And let me tell you something. A lot of you are very talented. Very. Some of you are okay. Some of you just pull up the little romantic shit. It's like, all right, yeah, But some of you are very talented. Some of you can pull up daily activities that I got going on. Somebody said I was gonna get hurt at work today. I fell off the chair. I got the message afterward, but yeah, I surely fell off the chair. I woke up a little too sleepy and boom. But it's not just that. That's just, just a small example so you can, I'm not clumsy by far. So for them to pick up that I was going to get hurt and then I hurt myself, it's like, wow, okay. You're a very skilled woman. You're very skilled reading your cards. Thanks. So, you guys got to understand, don't get frustrated with the messages. It's just going to be what it is. Now, if this girl comes back, I don't know how that's going to work, but if she even tries, I'm going to shut it down immediately. And then the readings are probably going to change a little bit. But it's only going to change if something happens. Now, the only thing you're picking up is me going through life and this woman going through life under judgment. That's what you're picking up. Now, there's other love interests that I have, and you guys pick it up, but it gets overthrown by the twin. It gets overthrown by her energy. Because, for crying out loud, she was supposed to be my partner in crime. If anything, she had the biggest energy out of everybody. But she didn't want to accept the calling. She didn't want to accept the favor. She decided, hey, I want to be in the streets and do all this stuff. Sure. Go right ahead. Some people are just like that. But like I told you, now that she sees or hears or watches the community and sees how much power I have, how much favor I have, how much of this and that, she's in the mindset of, oh shit, I need to go make things right. Same thing with my family. Oh shit, I gotta make things right. There's no making it right. What's done is done, and it's all over. The only thing you gotta do is endure your judgment, because that's what's coming to you, pretty much. That's it. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I was younger, when I was in like my teens, I used to, this is how I know God was always with me, but I just didn't know at the time. I remember I used to, date one girl, then, break up with her, date another one. But you know how that goes. You date one girl, you're going to break up with them at least a couple times and then get back together. And then, you have that final breakup or and then from there, that's it. And then you go on and you live your life, you find somebody else. But what I found so strangely is that every time a girl would hurt me, find somebody else that was better than me, which was a lot of people because I wasn't doing anything at that time. I was going through a lot. Anytime any girl did anything, anything that would hurt me, and let's say I would speak to that individual a month later, 2 months later, 3, 4, 5 months later. You know how it goes. Hey, I haven't spoke to you in a while. Oh my God, how you been? Every time that would happen, it never failed. The girl would always say, she always say, and these are different girls saying the same lines. I just remember it growing up, just always hearing it like, really, really, really. That was always my response. Really? The girl would say, you know, it's crazy because right after I broke up with you, all this crazy shit happened. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Oh, my auntie died. I lost my car. I don't work there anymore. I'm da-da-da-da. Oh my God, this happened. And you know, at first I was just like, oh man, damn, really? All that stuff happened? Wow, I'm so sorry to hear that, you know. And sometimes I would get back with the girl, you know, for multiple reasons. I missed her as well. She probably missed me, you know, hey, let me try again. I won't do that. You know, whatever the excuses or reasons or you'll get, I would get back together with them. Sometimes I wouldn't, sometimes I would. But it never failed that when we always broke up, without me knowing that I could cast judgment, it seems like other parties decided to cast judgment on these individuals. And now that I'm in the position I am now with spirituality, I understand those things from before. I remember there was an incident where some people stole some things from me. They ended up dead a couple weeks later. You know, and, you know, when I found that out, I was kind of like blown away, like, what? Like, they died? You know, and one mindset, I was like, well, that's good for them because they did this to me. That's what my first thought was, being a victim of that, of people stealing from me. But, you know, now I think about it and I say, well, that judgment has been coming around. I just didn't know about it. And every time something would happen, people will be judged. Whether if I do it or if God does it, they're going to be judged. They're going to be judged. All right? You're dealing with twins. You're dealing with an angel and a demon. All right? Originally 2 demons, because that's what mode I was in. Even if my heart was pure, doesn't matter. I didn't find myself. I just knew what the right thing was. All right? But at one point in my life, I was also in a dark presence. But it didn't take over, you know, it didn't take over. Every time, you know, something would egg me to do something dark, I'd fight against it. Being in dark places. So that's why I was able to get my wings back. Walking through hell. Walking through the fire. And if this woman is still coming up in my messages after all this time, maybe God's waiting on her, you know? Like I told you, I'm over 40. The girl I dated was a lot younger, you know, and in all fairness, I wouldn't say I was exactly put together when I was in those younger days. So, you know, I understand. But that just means that the tarot community has to be patient. Just because you flip and read those cards and shuffle them, what does that matter if God's in control? the cards that are going to come out are going to come out whether you shuffle it 100 times or one time. The messages are still going to come out no matter what you do. I mean, like I told you, even the prophetic word people, the people that just speak, it's the same thing. They don't even have cards. And yet, that form of divination, or however you want to call it, is mine. Your mind is mine. For my benefit. Under God's command. So, don't frustrate yourself, tarot readers. Let the messages come out. You're already doing God's word. So, that's all I want to say about that.